afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the Rieg AD Wedding Show, day 55
of
lockdown in South Africa.
It's actually a week ago that we recorded our first episode, so it's our week anniversary.
If we had alcohol, we would have celebrated.
We would have cheersed.
We don't have. But we will make up.
For those who might have missed an episode of 2, we started recording our wedding show during lockdown in South Africa. As Adi mentioned, it's day 55. And from our side, it's a way of just reminding all the brides and grooms out there, we're still here. We can't wait to start working again and to be able to photograph your weddings. As a result of COVID-19 and the national lockdown, and for that matter, you can almost say international lockdown, it's probably going to be a while before weddings take place. We are easing out of lockdown in South Africa, but it's still going to be a while before. Yeah, we are easing out. We are. It is getting better, but we'll get there. So in yesterday's episode, we spoke about memories, and we touched on videos, and we shared a bit of a story. So I thought it good to just continue on that journey with memories. And as mentioned in the first episode when we started, I filmed my first wedding in 1993. And this is the camera I used, an old Panasonic VHS C camera.
The ones the kids played with the other night.
Yes, and I think just as technology have come an incredible long way from what these things could do to what we have today with the amazing equipment and gear we can use, so has the whole way of doing a wedding film. So in the past, you kind of more spoke about wedding videography, and that was almost like a chronological video of the wedding day, often not even including a lot of the preparations and things like that. Mostly the ceremony and the reception, and that's it. And those videos ended up being like 2 hours long, or sometimes even longer.
Yeah, and totally journalistic style. It's as it happened. And you recorded everything that happened.
And I mean, just to recap on editing, back in the day when I did the first wedding or two, you couldn't really edit. You needed to have like at least 2 video machines and some nice equipment that was extremely expensive, and then still it wasn't the nicest edits. So it was out of most people's budgets. I mean, nowadays you can edit the most amazing video by using your iPad. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with the technology, the processing power that's in there. Well, if anyone that teaches themselves can do it, So the idea was to just talk about the way that we do wedding films, and the whole way of taking all the most amazing moments of the day, all those intimate, special, joyful moments, mixing them with beautiful music, or not really mixing them, I would rather say editing them with beautiful music, as well as some snippets from maybe the Grooms Speech, maybe one of the bridesmaids or the father of the bride or someone like that, just something that underlines the wedding story.
It's not in our planned, what we plan to say, but can you just elaborate a little bit with the speeches? How important, just because it is a tip show.
I think for any bride and groom planning, I don't ever want to say your video, your photos is the most important thing of the day, because you still need to enjoy the day, and it still needs to be you. It mustn't be staged all to the point where the video and the photos are perfect. So but unfortunately, we often end up missing those very special words spoken by the groom to his new bride, because right in front of a groom is sitting 30 guys spraying him with water pistols and some sort of tape and foam and all sort of things,
and making noise with.
Yes, even if you mic the groom properly with a lapel mic, the best you can do, you still end up not being able to use that footage. So our advice really to the grooms and the brides out there is maybe chat to your groomsmen. If they want to do something like that, allow the groom to have the first part of his speech where he can speak to his new bride, tell her how beautiful she looks, tell her how much he loves her, and when he gets to talk about the rest of the family and the thank yous and those, they can mess with him as much as they like. So it's a small tip, but it's something to just consider. You can't fix it afterwards.
And what we also recommend, that what we also sometimes do is with the prepping, we give the groom a chance to do
Yes.
his speech as
Or
if
vows.
or vows
Yeah.
as if he was speaking to his bride.
Just
Or
want to say, not everyone is comfortable doing that. So a lot
Yes.
of people are not comfortable being recorded while being mic'd, having to do that. Where if they do it as part of a speech, looking at their bride, it's often easier. So there we talk to each couple. Some couples prefer to do it beforehand. Some have even recorded their vows with us a week before the wedding separately. So the groom and the bride would both be with us. AD will keep the one busy outside while I record the groom, and then vice versa. And then we use those vows in the wedding film. And that's another thing to consider. Writing your own vows make for awesome audio in a wedding film. For the grooms out there that don't want to write their own, just make sure you find out where your bride is hiding hers, like I did in our wedding, and then you copy it. So
Yeah, it was basically, I do too.
okay, not the best advice.
Yeah.
Get your own vows.
Sorry
So
for
to
interfering.
get back to the wedding films, so they are edited to be anything between 5 and 7 minutes, taking the most beautiful moments of the day, stunning music, and some audio snippets from the day. And the last few years, the advances in technology from cameras, drones, audio equipment makes it possible for essentially one person to do an incredible production of a wedding where not even, I would say, 6-7 years ago, you probably needed a team of filmmakers, to do a similar thing. So it's become easier to some extent, but it's also pushed up the envelope quite high in terms of the quality of a production.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Rieg is very good with this. He is very good with sound. We use the best equipment. It's also not just something that anyone can do with
It's like any
any
art.
camera.
It's like we're gonna talk to a hairdresser today. So even if you give me the same equipment as what he's got, I'm never going to do that. I'm not really qualified.
No, quit.
So all I'm trying to say, equipment doesn't make the production. It's all about how you use the equipment. So from our side, we really want to invite you to go watch the wedding films that we produce. The link's going to be up here. You're going to see a little eye. Click on it and there'll be a playlist with quite a few of the wedding films we've produced over the last few years. And from our side, as a lockdown promotion, as long as the lockdown is in place, we will actually be offering our wedding films as an add-on to any one of our photography packages for a ridiculously small amount of only 2,000 Rand. So,
and that is a saving of?
Well, over 8,000 Rand.
Yeah,
it's a massive saving. So if you want more information, get in contact with us. Please go and watch our wedding films. I think that's very important. It's like anything else. You're not going to pick a hairdresser if they don't do your hair the way you want it, or a makeup artist, or if you don't, like Susan said yesterday, the wedding needs to talk to you. The same thing applies here. Go look at the style of films that we do, and that's important. It needs to be a match.
Yes, as the hairdresser, you have to get along with the hairdresser. That is why it's so important to go for a trial
beforehand. But I think Sam will get into those details.
Sam will
so that's going to be a good time to introduce our guest for the afternoon.
Okay, so our next guest is Samuel Beck of Samuel Beck Hairdressing. They are a local hair salon
in Jeffreys Bay.
In Jeffreys Bay, yeah. Sorry, everyone is not from Jeffreys Bay. Over to Sam. Thank you very much. Samuel, thank you very much for joining us today on the Rieg AD Wedding Show. We welcome Sam from Samuel Beck Hairdressing. Samuel, can you just give a little bit of background on yourself and how you started in the industry?
Yeah, basically, I mean, I kind of grew up with hairdressing. You know, my dad was a hairdresser, so I grew up kind of in his hair salon, really. So most weekends, Saturdays, I was kind of hanging around with my dad, you know. And then, I mean, I went into hairdressing you normally over there, you start early. So from 16, you know, I went into London and I was working up there. Did my training and it just took off from there, really. Loved it.
How long have you been a hairdresser in South Africa? And did you start with hairdressing here in Jeffreys Bay or in another town?
No, yeah, we basically came straight from London to Jeffreys, funny enough. We've actually been here now for 15 years. Years have gone, it's unreal. Hairdressing as a whole, we worked it out the other day. I've been hairdressing for 27 years, which is, I know. It's the years just go past, but yeah, it was a move that, we had to really work out and make sure we were making the right decision. We thought we'd give it a 5-year go, and then take it from there. And well, 15 years later, we're rocking. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if much of our viewers know, but you are one of the best hairdressers in the Eastern Cape. I mean, you are renowned, your business ethic. Everyone talks about your hair salon. So it is a very, very great honor to have you today on the program, and specifically for clients. It's a wedding show, so we want to give them, out of your perspective, any advice leading up to their wedding day.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this, actually. I've got a lot written down here, because it's not something you can actually just spout off the top of your head. What I've done, I've actually broken it down into 2 different sections. So you've obviously got pre-wedding, and obviously on your wedding day. Now, as far as the before the wedding, one of the main things obviously most brides will do is is your research. You've got your usuals with your Pinterest and kind of all those kind of lines, but one of the main things, I can see you smiling because we've been through this before, but you've got to be realistic with it. A lot of the time when you see a picture on Pinterest and stuff like that, it looks absolutely amazing, but you don't know how long it's taken to actually get the hair to look like. They could have been in the studio for 6-7 hours, getting prepped and played with and tweaked, and then afterwards, as I'm sure you'll know, is what they do to the picture afterwards is sometimes it's not even hair. So, as far as I'm concerned, you've got to be realistic with it. That's one of the the main things. Do research on your hairdresser as well. Check them out on Instagram, on Facebook. Check their work. Ask around, see who's good in your area at doing wedding hair, and actually check out your hairdresser and on those pages and see whether that's something that they specialise in, and also whether it's to your taste. I mean, they could be a great hairdresser and really good at putting hair up, but it might not be your cup of tea. So and yeah, book a trial. Trial's really, really important. We normally say book a trial, say 2 weeks ish is ideal before a wedding, because then everything's still fresh and you still got time to tweak it and play around if you need to, and go from there. But we're very hesitant to do a wedding, hair on a wedding day without doing a wedding trial, because all sorts of issues can happen. And it's not just from us, deciding what we're going to do. It's from their side of things as well. It's you're getting to know the person, and everyone's different. Their hair's different, their personalities are different. So that's something you've got to, learn. Also with your wedding trial, bring your accessories. Decide what you're going to do with your accessories beforehand, because then at least when we go through the trial, we can say, look, this is going to work, that might not work. This big hairpiece thing that you want on the side of your head is going to look ridiculous. I mean, sometimes it works, or sometimes it doesn't work. So it's good to get organised as far as that goes. Sorry, I'm waffling, aren't I? But anyway, do your another thing is the weather aspect as well when you're doing your hair on a wedding day. It's always been a big issue for us. Like if somebody say wants their hair down, which is very in at the moment actually, to have very kind of soft waves, and you're having a beach wedding, it's not going to last for 5 minutes. So what we normally say is basically, it's good to start with that idea, but you don't know what the weather's going to do. So always have a backup plan for like an updo of some sort. you know, somewhere you can actually go to just in case the weather is horrible, because sometimes it can happen. Yeah, and the basically with the colour and the cutting, you know, the cut just before the wedding day, we normally say, and the colour actually a couple of weeks before, one or 2 weeks before. The cut generally you don't really want to do too much to. Never have a restyle or a massive change just before wedding, because it always ends in tears. Generally we end up doing trimming, because just keeping in mind what you're actually going to be doing with the hair afterwards, it has to marry together, excuse the pun. So, and yeah, sometimes with the colour we'll do, just before we'll do like a gloss just to, you know, smarten it up a little bit and maybe take it from there, but nothing major just before your wedding day. So that's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam, thank you very much. How many stylists do you have in your salon, and do you offer a service where you go to the venue on the day of the wedding?
100%. Yeah, no, we've basically got we've got 4 hairdressers, where 4 hairdressers, you know, 2 assistants. So we can normally kind of go to the venue, or they can come to us, or we've had other weddings where the brides just come to us, and the rest of the staff has actually gone to the venue to, you know, to do the rest of the wedding party. So yeah, I mean, we're pretty organised like that. We've done quite a few. So you know, we've done massive wedding parties before where, you know, we've started at 7 o'clock in the morning and, you know, finished say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, no, it's good for that. So.
Sam, do you have the worst story ever that happened, like just stuff that went wrong? I mean, even in our industry, we have stories like that where we just deal with a difficult person.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there is. And this also is one of my points as well about, you know, on your wedding day is basically, if you have had a trial before, don't change your mind on the day, because that also is, you know, you can tweak it, you can play around a little bit, but don't change something completely. And there was, of course, there was one bride that we were doing the hair, and she had far too much champagne and had too many calming tablets. So yeah, so she wasn't thinking straight at all, and she decided that she wanted to change the hair at the last minute. And I said, listen, you know, we've only got 15 minutes till you've actually got to go for your photos, and are you sure you want to change this? And she said yes. And I had to take the whole thing down, redo it from scratch, and yeah, the outcome wasn't the best. No, it's not the funniest.
I think that's a very valid point. We've also experienced that, and it's maybe not related to hair, but it's a tip that all brides can walk away with. You know, be very cautious of family members, especially moms, passing you some sort of a calming tablet whilst you are having champagne. The two really doesn't mix well. And we had one scenario where we had to postpone the shoot for almost an hour because the bride was just, she wasn't there. You know, so it's also not a nice way of spending. We all get stressed. There's no doubt about it, you know, and manage it, but don't overdo it. And it really happens.
Alcohol and calming tablets doesn't go together.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are.
They don't mix.
No.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, sorry.
No, you can continue.
No, I was just going to say, you know, it very rarely happens, but sometimes, you know, you'll get a bride on the wedding day whose personality changes so much from what she would normally be like, where she's so stressed out, she's so worried, and there's no need for it. And you end up missing the whole wedding because you're so stressed and worried about everything. Yeah. You know, you need to just enjoy every minute of it.
You've done all the planning beforehand, and then just let it go. I think that's something we often talk to the brides about, and we've mentioned it in one of the previous episodes. It's only the bride and the groom and maybe 1 or 2 family members that will know if something goes wrong. The rest of the people won't even know. You know, so our advice to them is always, you know, if something goes wrong, just go with it. You know, don't try and change it on the day. It is what it is. So.
definitely.
Sam, we're in the middle of lockdown. Day 50, I almost swear.
55.
Day 55. I wanted to say day 50 flippin' 5.
Yeah.
How are you guys coping? I mean, we know, everyone knows that salons are not open. This is why my hair looks this way. That's why I support opening up the salons. How are you guys doing?
Oh, look, I mean, obviously, I mean, it impacts negatively on, you know, on the businesses, you know, in the way of financial. But, you know, the world's spinning at the moment. It's all over the place. And you either, I don't know, it's a difficult one. We obviously miss the whole interaction with our clients quite a lot, because it's quite, you know, that's quite an important part of our business and who we are. But we've tried to turn it into something a little bit positive with, you know, with online education and webinars and stuff like that. Not only for clients and for us trying to give them advice on how to handle their hair during lockdown, and the products they're supposed to be using, and the products also to avoid. Yeah, that's another thing. But but basically, you know, from our point of view, I'm learning a lot. I'm actually learning loads at the moment from all the suppliers are putting out there all different educational videos and everything, which is awesome, you know. So it depends how you see it. You see it as a negative or you see it as a positive.
And what I also saw, I'm obviously following everyone in our town's Facebook pages and social media. I see that you've got a raffle running every week where you give away, when you the week that you open, that you give away services and everything. And I mean, that is also so important for us in the industry to remind our clients that we stick, we stay, we're there for them, even if it's via social media.
Definitely. I mean, look, in a lot of ways, you know, I mean, our hands are completely tied. You know, we're not allowed to do hair. We're not allowed to, you know, open the salon and help our clients as we would like to. But when your hands are tied, you do what you can, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And focus on your skill. I mean, it's like we've been joking a lot this last couple of weeks about people that's offering us all sorts of weird social media businesses and networking, and I don't want to mention anyone, but I mean, you don't want to go there. I mean, we worked hard for our money. You guys work your butts off.
And to build our brand.
Yeah, you don't want to all of a sudden become a social media network marketing pyramid scheme hoster.
But you know,
we want to do what we love doing.
It's very important to think as well, where, I mean, what you can actually maybe do now might impact you when we all go back to work and everything. So it's I know it's a survival thing that we have to get through at the moment, but we've also got to think forward of what's going to happen when everything opens up and everyone goes back to work. You know, what we do now has a massive effect on what happens when we open back up.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I think in closing, Sam, from your side, is there any other advice that you want to put out there for brides? I was a bit quiet because I don't feel qualified, you know, to talk about hair. But from your side, any other tips or pointers for brides planning their special day, which will happen? It might only be later this year, but
even for grooms.
Yeah, even for the grooms as well. We often talk about the brides and forget about the guys. But yeah, any last advice from you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I did actually have a lot of that written down as well about, you know, the groom aspect, because, you know, a lot of people do forget that kind of side of things. You know, that's also becoming such a massive part of the wedding, much more so than it used to be. You know.
Yes.
As far as that's concerned, you know, we normally, a bit of advice there, we'd say that, you know, if they're going to have the haircut, do it about a week before, just so it grows in a little bit. Because the last thing you want to do is have, you know, pristine haircuts, you know, on a wedding day. It just doesn't, you know, it's like Barbie and Ken. It's just not good. So, and also basically on the wedding day itself, don't forget that, you know, we can still style their hair as well. So, you know, it depends. If they come to our venue, it's a bit difficult because, you know, he might be somewhere else, you know, with his mates. But if we go to the venue and they're local, it takes us 5 minutes to run over there and style his hair for him. And that makes quite a big difference on a wedding day. Huge
difference.
I've seen quite a few times with the guys where one of the groomsmen have to style the groom's hair. And some have been amazing, but there's also been a few disasters. So, I mean, offering a service like that, I think a lot of brides not say they don't think about it, but they might not know that service is available, especially if you're on location. And like you say, it's going to take 5-10 minutes at the most, and the groom will be looking his best possible.
No, 100%. And a couple of little tips for the bride on the wedding day as well. I mean, a couple of things that we found, we've gone to a few wedding venues before where there's no music or anything. So it's always good to actually just bring some music with you, because there's been many occasions where, you know, we sat there doing the bride's hair. She's like a little bit nervous and all that kind of stuff. And it's just silence. And all you can hear is like tummies rumbling, you know, and stuff like that. So it's nice to have a bit of music there just to calm.
Yeah, that's
down.
great.
And, you know, keep that into consideration, really. And yeah, basically starting early, you know, get in there as early as you can. What we normally do with the bridal party is, you know, we'll start with you know, the bridesmaids first, or do all the prepping. The prepping takes the most time. So, you know, we'll be setting the hair into, you know, getting it ready for the curls. That takes the most time. We can leave them, they can go off to makeup, and so I mean, it can go from there. So it's also quite important to get in contact with your makeup artist and get some kind of timing schedule organized. And then there's no stress.
Sam, does it differ with styles and brides, whether they have to wash their hair the day before or the day after wedding? What is your advice on that, if there is general advice?
There is. I mean, we end up phoning. We tell all of our brides and the bridesmaids basically to wash their hair in the morning and then just leave it, because there's a lot of different factors in that, where if they had washed their hair a couple of days ago and they don't normally wash, it can be oily. They can have the build up of products in it. We can't guarantee that the hair ups or whatever we do to their hair is going to last if it's not with our own products, you know, with professional products. So yes, if they turn up, washed hair in the morning, and then we do the rest.
Okay, obviously with no products added.
No, nothing.
Okay.
So a lot of the time, actually, we say don't use conditioner unless the hair is very long and fine and tangly, and it's going to take us 3 hours through. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the time we just say no conditioner, wash it in the morning, leave it, and it makes things go so much smoother in the day.
Okay, and Sam, is there anything else that you've written down? I know you made your own notes that you can just check through, that we are sure that you gave the clients the advice and everything.
I think I've got most of it, actually.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
One of the main things as well, with a lot of bridal parties that I found, there seems to be a battle in personalities going on with amongst the bridesmaids. Sometimes you can actually have one bridesmaid that's a little bit more stronger-willed than others, and it's just a reminder that it's the bride's day. Everything is focused on that bride. You know, she has to look flawless. All the attention has to be on. It's her day, basically. So, in my opinion, that would be the most important thing. You know. And also, the last thing is basically to try and make sure that, you know, one of the bridesmaids, after the hair is done, someone that is maybe okay with hair, basically ends up being hair police, you know, for the afternoon, just to keep an eye on her, make sure she's okay before she walks down the aisle, and and then that's about it, really.
Yes, that is actually very valid. The first point that you made. Often the girls forget that it's not about them.
It's about the bride.
And it is not about anyone else but the bride. Obviously, and the groom. We're just talking about the bridal party. But often the girls do forget. We've seen it many times photographing weddings, that they actually stop while you're busy with a bride and they ask the hairdresser to fix something on their head. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it happens.
Sam, we want to thank you very much. We appreciate your time so much. We cannot wait for you guys to open again. As we say, we support all the lobbies. We are lobbying for hair salons to open. We know in any case that you guys always have a very, very strict hygiene protocol. So it's actually ridiculous that you cannot operate. And good luck for this time. Let's hold thumbs for level 3, that maybe something can happen for us all in the industry. And we are looking forward to doing a wedding again with you guys.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And regards to Shirai.
Thanks very much, Adi and Rickard, and I'll speak to you guys soon. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam. Cheers,
Sam.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Sam. You are the man. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it a lot.
From our side, once again, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like our channel, like our videos, and remember, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll have that lucky draw for the family, lifestyle, or couple shoot to the value of 3,000 Rand. See you in the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.